Hi, it's Sarah SMUTNY, your host of the Simply Balanced podcast. I'm super happy that you're listening in today. And here in this podcast, we are going to go deep on gut health, anti-inflammatory living, spirituality, self-care, and so much more. Hi, Rebecca. Hello. We've already seen each other a few times on Instagram Live, yes. And now we are also doing a podcast together. I'm really, really happy. Yeah, first of all, who doesn't know me yet? This is my podcast of Slow and Dane, and I want to bring people from the holistic wellness field together, really inspire you how to find balance in all ways, and pick out the tools for you which are best, and get inspired what is all out there, and actually what you can do to find this kind of balance with joy, and with inspiration, without restriction, without having to do any hard diets or anything. It's all about finding your right way, and that's why I started this podcast. So today we will talk with Rebecca, who is a human design teacher, and also, like me, a holistic nutrition coach. So basically we are very similar in what we are doing, but we both have our own ways. So we thought, why not also talk together and inspire you with our both kind of knowledge and our perspective. So hi Rebecca, if you want to maybe also say quickly who is Rebecca. Who is Rebecca?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Rebecca, and I am a holistic health coach that is specializing in human design. A little bit of random facts about me. I recently moved to France this year from the United States after traveling for 2.5 years with my husband. And I have been practicing human design for the past 2.5 years, and holistic health I actually just graduated at the beginning of this year. So that's a little bit about me.
That also binds us because we are both living in France. So I'm living in Lyon, and Rebecca in Avignon. So let's dive into the topic. Because we want to talk in kind of a series now on my podcast about human design, and how you can also eat for human design, because a lot of people don't know that human design can be also linked to nutrition, and that's our field. It's super, super interesting and impactful, I find, also for myself. Today we want to to dive into this topic and let you a little bit, give you some glimpses of what it can do for you as well. We want to talk a little bit how we both came to human design, and what it did for us in our nutrition, in our daily life, and then next episodes we will, for example, talk about how living when you're living out of alignment, how even human design can help you to deal with a burnout, with anxiety, and this kind of issues. And it will be a very, very nice episode. I'm really looking forward to record that with you. So today, let's start.
Sure.
So Rebecca, what brought you actually to human design? How did you discover it?
So I actually discovered it when I was kind of in the beginning of my travels in Australia, and I just happened to hear about it on a podcast, actually. And I was so drawn to it. The 5-1 in me just decided to dive right in, and I wanted to know everything I possibly could about it. As I started to do my own research on myself, I started to do just little readings here and there for people I would meet, because I was so curious about okay, what's their energy type? What's their authority? And that's kind of how I found it. And then from there, I just decided to continue to deepen my studies. And then when I found holistic health as well, I decided to combine the two because I know human design was so vital in giving me that roadmap as far as like how I can optimally like live my life. And I feel like it's so linked with holistic health, especially with the digestion aspect of it. And it's part of the big transformation that goes on within the body. And when I started using human design, specifically with my food and my digestion, I found like so many changes take place. And I knew like, okay, I need to share this in with all my holistic health clients. And it's funny because it ends up being, I think, one of the biggest parts of like the consultation process in general and just like throughout the health journey because people are so curious about it. And I love that because I think it's probably my favorite part as well. Obviously, I love the health stuff and holistic living and everything like that. But I think human design is what really like lights me up
like crazy. Yeah, I feel it in your eyes.
Yeah, I love it so much. So yeah, that's kind of what brought me to human design. And what about you? How did you find human design?
I find it in the I'm in another community, which is all about holistic skincare and how to heal also your skin. And in this community, there's a lot of holistic practitioners, of course. And there, at once, there was this kind of word human design, like going like a how to say that, like a forest fire or something, like bushfire.
Yeah.
Everybody like, so which human design are you? And which I don't. When I in this community, it was like a huge thing at once, and I was thinking, what are they talking about human design? What is this? And so I got very intrigued, of course. And I checked my human design, and I couldn't really read this chart. I got generated from it was in the internet. I did this test, and then I booked a reading with somebody, and that was some at least like for once somebody explained me how I function, like who I am, and of course a lot of these things you already kind of feel it deep inside, but we always judge ourselves. That's the difference. We judge ourselves for it because we say, that's not normal. Why am I like this? Why can't I be like my husband? And why can't I be like that person? Or I don't know. We always compare ourselves with others because we think that maybe I'm not efficient enough or not productive or whatever we think about ourselves. So that's a lot of negative thoughts. And we always try to kind of fit in with others. At least I did that. So this was a revelation for me. Finally, somebody understood me, how I am, and said, it's okay like this, how you are. That's how you're designed. And I tell you, like, that made me fall in love with this concept because I finally found the acceptance of myself. And it also, like, when I then went, I was, of course, out of, super enthusiastic. And I ran to my husband and said, I found the roadmap, how I am, look at this and this and this. And he was like, wow, that's really new. And this really helped me to explain who I am in a much more structured way to my husband also, and other persons, in my daily life. And that also was a game changer.
Yeah, I think that's like the feedback too that I hear from and I'm sure you do as well when you read for clients, like it's like we're diving into their psyche. And I know for me as well, like when I looked at my chart and I went deeper into my chart, I think the realization of like sometimes you think these aspects of yourself are weaknesses, but in when you start looking at it from another angle, they can actually be superpowers.
Yes.
And so for me too, it was like this huge like revelation of just like a deeper understanding of myself and finally kind of being more confident in who I am and just understanding like, no, this is actually how I'm meant to function. I'm not meant to function like everyone else, and everyone else is not meant to function like me. We're all meant to.
So you're right. It also makes us accept the others more.
Right. Exactly. And that's why I got so like when I was learning about it, I was like, I need to know everyone's human design.
Yeah.
And it's my relationship with people too, especially like my friends and stuff like that. When I understand now, like how they're supposed to be operating, and I'm a generator, so I can go, go, go. I have a lot of projector friends who aren't necessarily like energy wise on the same level. And it helps me like understand them more instead of being like, oh, why don't they have the energy to like go for like 10 hours a day project that I do?
Yeah.
You know, so it's been like very enlightening for my relationships and also enlightening for myself, which is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. What did it change also, for example, with your husband?
Yes. I loved finding out my husband's human design as well. And him and I are both generators. So, and this is why I think it's really important for people to book readings, because a lot of the time people only look at like the energy type, because that's the big flashy thing that's going around of like, oh, are you a generator, projector, or a manifestor, whatever. And my husband and I are both generators, but when you go deep parts, you can tell we're so different. Even though we're both generators, you know, he has different things to find in his chart. We have completely different gates. We have a completely different profile. So even though we're generators at the core, we still operate totally different. And it's been so interesting to look at both of ours. It's really helped our relationship and just once again, like have a deeper understanding of each other, especially where like I was saying before, like these like weaknesses that I could have, or instead of me judging him for like, I have a defined root, so I have like that pressure center going all the time and it really propels me to like get stuff done, but he doesn't have a defined root. So he's more like laid back, chill. And a lot of the time before like finding out his human design, I would nag him and I'm like, you know, like we need to do this, da 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 da.
Yeah.
After like learning about that, like, okay, you know, he doesn't have the defined like, so it's just been interesting in those like little aspects of like our personalities and just, you know, just getting that deeper understanding. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same, like to give you an example of my husband, he's a generator as me, like me, like a 5-1, basically, you know, what you want. And I'm a generator 2-4. And he likes to plan, and he likes to, you know, for example, when we go on holiday, he likes to plan the whole holiday and where we go then, and then where we take the train, and where you know, like he could plan the whole holiday. But when I just think of it doing this, I get so stressed and overwhelmed. And in the past, I would always guiltify myself for it, like feel guilty for it, you know. I judge myself and say, why can't I be like him? Why can't I be such a good planner? You know. But since I understood that the 2-4 is just more on the surface, like floating, you know, and needs a lot of time for myself, like in my. But I also like community and deep talks. But I don't like to deep dive in things. I like to, you know a lot of things, use them as my tools. But I'm not a deep diver who, for example, buys 10 books about one topic.
Right.
And that's that's my strength, because I bring people together. I'm a community builder. I can inspire people with but only in my energy. Yeah. So yeah, just give you a glimpse of of me. And yeah, this kind of deep diving and planning is not my thing. And since then, I always say to him, number 2-4, sorry, have fun planning. You're good in this. Do that.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, and that's so great. That's it. What I just wanted to say before I lost, this idea, what I wanted to share. It's what it also helps, I find, human design, is set boundaries. Set boundaries in a much more clear way. Instead of getting bitchy or getting like aggressive with people, like passive aggressive, let's say, we can say, I function like this. I need this. And say for a much deeper level what you need.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, I think it's super important. And like, it's really interesting because like obviously like I'm a 5'1" too. So when you were talking about your husband, I was like, oh my gosh, I relate to him so much. But it's so vital, like knowing that now of understanding, like, because in the past, like you could have compared yourself of being like, okay, why do I kind of like dipping my toes into all these different little things, but I never like to go deep like my husband, or
Yeah.
why can't I on this topic? So I think it's so interesting when you learn about that, and instead of comparing yourself and judging yourself for why do I not want to go like super this, you can under or like that's not my purpose. My purpose is actually to be, you know, kind of an expert in all these different fields, bring people together. So it's so and when you understand that, instead of comparing yourself or judging yourself for not operating the same way as even your
Yeah, it's also super helpful for business, huh? I find. Yeah.
Oh,
It really, yeah, as you say, helps you what you're really good in, and instead of trying to be someone else, you know?
right.
My husband, just as another example, he could sit 8 hours on one Excel file, just to give you an example.
Yeah.
And I, after 1 hour, I'm getting another idea. And now, I want to do this. And I need to meet people or do something for my self-care or whatever, I function different. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's so beautiful, I find, to find that out for relationships, for even for your kids, to find out what type are your kids.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, but I was just gonna say, like, for you too, like when you know that about yourself, like now you can almost like schedule yourself in blocks. Like, okay, I'm gonna be doing like skincare for the first hour of the day, and then I'm gonna take 2 hours to do holistic health, and then maybe I'll do like one human design reading in the afternoon. Like you can play with your schedule a little bit more instead of like, yeah, like I'm kind of the same way. Like on the side, I also do like a lot of digital media content for brands, and I can spend one full day filming, editing, like planning out, like reading scripts, whatever, for one like specific brand, and I can spend the whole day doing that and not have to like shift gears. So it's just super different.
Yeah. So like talking about the emotional center of of the human design chart, what is something which flashed you like about your own emotional center?
So I think like, well, first, I guess I just want to give like some clarity about the emotional center, because I think it's a big area that people get really confused on, especially if you're undefined. And a lot of people think like, okay, if I'm undefined, does that mean I'm not emotional? I don't experience emotions, but that's not true. So if anyone is an undefined emotional center, like myself, you do experience emotions, but your natural way of being is calm, cool, collected, chill. But an outside trigger is going to like spark your emotions. Like something needs to cause like kind of the emotions to come up for you, because your natural way of being, if you're like undisturbed, is just relaxed and calm. But when that outside trigger comes in, like maybe you're watching TV and something sparks something in you, maybe your partner comes home and they're full of anxiety, that's going to spark like an emotion out of you. So just to clear the air on that, you do experience emotions, and sometimes you'll actually experience them at a greater level because you're just amplifying what's around.
Yeah.
That was really interesting for me to learn, because for me, I'm like extremely empathetic, and I've always been really affected by the energies of people around me. It's interesting because in the house that I grew up in, both of my parents are emotional centers. So they have their emotional mind. Yes. And I remember like I would just be chilling, and like if my dad would get angry or something, like I could feel his energy almost like as he was coming up the stairs, like the anger, and I could really feel how it would affect me so much after, like if he would get angry, or even my mom if she was stressed, like I always like could feel or tap into these emotions. And before learning about this in human design, I would let it a lot of the time overtake me. And then I would experience, or all of a sudden I'd be angry, or all of a sudden I
didn't know where it came from. You thought that was your emotions.
Right, exactly. I was fine before, and then all of a sudden, like this huge wave of emotions has hit me. and I didn't know how to control it. So a lot of the time it would go like completely out of control.
Yeah.
But when I learned about human design and understanding like, no, you're actually an emotional center. So you're kind of like picking up on everyone's emotions around you. I kind of learned to ask myself more of like, if I get like a random stress out of nowhere, if I get random anxiety out of nowhere, a random anger or any sort of emotion that comes into play, I ask myself like, is this emotion yours or did you pick this up from someone else? And that kind of helps me to distinguish like, okay, I grabbed this from someone else. Now it's time to empty. I'm like, yeah. So
that's so powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love to talk about the emotional center, and I find even more than the sacral, that people I speak with are the most, I'd say, surprised by the emotional center.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it affects them a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's huge. I mean, like, especially like, I mean, if you have a defined emotional center, you're meant to experience emotions. It's part of like your purpose being here. You're meant to feel like the highs and the really high highs and the really low lows. And like, you're always going to be on that crazy wavelength. And it's part of your purpose. It can be part of your decision maker. Like, it's such a vital part of why you're here. So understanding that of like understanding like, oh, I'm supposed to be feeling these like crazy emotions because it's part of my purpose, that can be huge for someone.
Yeah.
And then like on the other hand too, like of like the undefined ones, just having that understanding of like, am I holding on to someone's energy or is this my own?
Yeah.
And being able to let that go instead of letting it overpower, getting so affected by the room. Like that's all to understand, because emotions are big in our everyday lives, like everyone we encounter, so it's
emotions everywhere basically.
It's such a part.
And so about last thing I would speak today about, because we want to make a series of it, so we don't want to make this one too long, is sacral. So what changed it for you? Like, what impact did it have for you to learn about your sacral?
The sacral?
Yeah, the sacral.
Yeah. I think for just like everyday decision makings, I think a lot of the time before learning about human design, I obviously was not in alignment at all. And I think I was trying to operate as more of like a manifester or a manifesting generator. I think a lot of my life has been like that. So things didn't seem to flow or be in alignment. So when I learned to kind of use like the superpower of the sacral of like in the moment, like choosing those like yes or no responses and kind of like reframing what I'm asking myself in terms of like what I want to do today or what I want to eat today or do I want to hang out with anyone today, of those yes, no responses instead of like constantly saying yes to everything or going and initiate out, like listening to myself, and then all of a sudden things start to crumble and it gets out of control and I don't want to be at this place, but I said yes to it.
Your energy goes down. Yeah.
Right. It ends up consuming you and you end up being like completely out of alignment and you end up being like a frustrated generator. You burn out.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically human design is also great for people pleasers, right?
Yes.
Yeah. To learn about human design. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was definitely I still am, but like I was probably way worse of a people pleaser before. But now I've learned to say no, especially with socializing and stuff like that. I used to say yes all the time, and now I actually need my card. Like that's really important to me. So I think just learning to work with the sacral and be that response to whatever the universe is bringing to me, instead of trying to go and initiate every single idea that comes to mind, really for those signs and waiting for those like yes, no responses to whatever comes in my path has helped to get way more on path in my life right now.
Yeah. But for me, with what changed with the sacral was also a lot the social gatherings, let's say. In the past, I would say also, let's say I was invited to a dinner, or I had invited people and I was actually feeling in the morning like off, saying, oh, actually, I'm not in the mood to, have people over. I would still do it because I realized, I wouldn't want to hurt people. And I thought, oh, yeah, maybe then they will not like me anymore, all this kind of thoughts, And since I learned about my human design and about the sacral, I tuned in, of course, in the beginning, after I learned about it, I still did a lot of things wrong, but I had the awareness. So when I then still said yes, but knowing, actually, I felt off, I started observing myself. Felt off, why did I say yes? And the evening was crap, frankly. And then I started to observe all of this as, always when I said yes, when I actually wanted to say no, and I felt off, it was a crap evening. So why do I still do it? So with the time observing all of these kind of events, outcomes, it made me really understand, okay, it's really good to say no, because because generators, when we are in our energy, we are very magnetic and amazing, and that's our purpose, to bring energy to others. But if we are off, we repel even people, and also, we can kind of get an anti-attractor. So that's why I see it as a self-care to say no. And it always came out perfectly. So that's why my biggest tip for you, if you're also a generator, like listening to us, and you have anyway, every generator has a defined sacral. Just try to also play with this. Try to observe when you said yes, although you wanted to say no, and how was the outcome. Journal a lot about this, and you would see that nothing bad happens if you say no. Nothing bad, only good things will happen.
Yeah, when you say yes and you're really present and you're there, you can be that like magnetic spark,
and the energy goes up. So next day you would be again in a high energy, because if you say no, yes to things which you should have said no, the energy goes down like crazy. So the next day it's also crap, and then you get into kind of a vicious cycle. At least that's my own experience.
Yeah,
why it's such a powerful strategy, I find. It's very simple, but
but it's hard. When you're used to kind of saying yes to everything, and that's the big like lesson for generators, is like learning to say no, because a lot of to saying yes to everything, whether it's work related, social related, whatever.
Because we're always afraid to miss out.
Yes.
And by knowing your human design, you know that you actually miss out when you say yes to things where you don't want to be. Then you miss out.
Yeah.
That's a big shift in the mind, I find.
Yeah. 100%.
It's so nice to speak with a fellow, generator about these things.
Yes. Generator.
So, tell her, I will put also a link in the show notes, where you can calculate your human design. I will put our both Instagram and, where you can find us. If you have any more questions, just contact us. We are really happy to exchange with you about whatever, comes in your mind. And that's what we are doing it for, to connect with you guys and to get the word out of, this power of human design. So don't hesitate to get in touch with us. And we are looking forward to our next episodes. And have a beautiful day whenever you're listening to this episode. And shine your light, I would say. And see you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.